I wrote 38 invitations by hand, not printed, not emailed, handwritten. Each one with its own little owl sticker because Imri loved owls, and I thought maybe, just maybe, someone would notice the care I put in. It wasn't just a birthday, it was her first. And maybe more than that, it was my quiet hope that we could all show up, just once, without drama, without excuses. Imri was turning 1, the first grandchild on my side of the family. I had this dream, small, but stubborn, that we could gather in my little backyard in Savannah, folding chairs, sheet cake from Costco, juice boxes, that maybe, despite everything, we could look like a family again for one afternoon. I imagined photos, laughter, maybe even someone saying they were proud of me. Day 1 after I mailed the invites. Nothing. Day 2. Nothing. Day 3. Still nothing. I checked the addresses twice, scanned the family chat thread, scrolled, tapped, scrolled again. No responses. No thumbs up. No. We'll try to make it. Just silence. I told myself they were busy. Maybe mail got lost. I even made excuses for the ones who lived 15 minutes away. The neighbors asked, "So big party coming up?" I smiled and said, "Yeah, hoping for a good turnout." I didn't say I was hoping for a miracle. The night before the party, I picked up the cake, white frosting, level 1 unlocked in pixel font. Tied the last balloon. Borrowed 7 folding chairs and cleaned the grill. Imri was asleep early, probably sensing something special was coming. I stood in the kitchen staring at the owl sticker roll, trying to believe we were still worth showing up for. Morning came clear and warm, not too humid, with a little breeze, the kind of day you couldn't complain about if you tried. I laid out the table, pre-cut orange slices, set up a cooler with sodas. Imri sat in her high chair on the porch, wearing a paper crown. She didn't know what a birthday meant, but she giggled when I told her she looked like royalty. A few of her daycare classmates showed up, parents in tow. That was something. They brought gifts wrapped in soft paper and said polite things like, "She's precious," and "You've done so well." But no one from my family came. Every time a car rolled past, I looked up. Every time someone slowed at the curb, my stomach rose. And then sank. Noon passed. Then 1, then 2. I clapped when we sang Happy Birthday. I helped Imri blow out her candle and cut the cake like it mattered. But it didn't feel like a celebration. It felt like staging a photo for people who weren't even looking. The owl banner kept tugging in the wind. The folding chairs stayed empty. I didn't cry. I didn't let myself. Not then. At 3:15 p.m., my phone buzzed. Just one notification. It was a text from my mother. "Don't make a big deal out of a baby's party." No, sorry we couldn't make it. No, hope she had a good day. Just that. I read it once. Then again. Then I put the phone face down on the table, and I sat there for a long time, not blinking, not breathing deep enough to feel it fully. The row of empty chairs looked less like absence and more like a decision. After everyone left, I packed up the leftovers, foil over half the cake, the extra juice boxes back in the fridge. Imri was still happy, smearing frosting on her cheeks, oblivious to the people who didn't show. I wiped her lip gently and sat down beside her. We watched the light fade across the fence. "We celebrated, didn't we, baby?" I whispered. In my mind, I told myself, maybe next year they'll come. Then I stood, picked up the owl sticker envelope box, and dropped it into the trash. My hand didn't shake. My face didn't soften. 5 days after Imri's birthday, I opened my inbox like I always did, between checking Imri's sippy cup and restacking the dishwasher. Routine. Familiar. Harmless. But there it was. A group email from Verlaine with the subject line, "Sweet 16 contributions." No greeting, no context. just a file named Sponsor Tiers Final.pdf attached, and a sentence that read like a sales pitch: Please Venmo by Friday, urgent. Venue needs deposit. I clicked the file, and there it was, my name, in bold, under Platinum Sponsors. Next to it, $20,000. Beneath that, in smaller print, Delaney to cover Clovis's share, as discussed, fixed income exception. No one had discussed a damn thing with me, not a text, not a call, not a, hey, I know you just threw a birthday party your whole family ghosted, but could you fund someone else's? They didn't even bother to acknowledge Imri's party. Not a photo request. Not a belated card. Not even a thumbs up on the post I made. I sat there, one hand still damp from rinsing off a pacifier, just staring at the screen like it might glitch and change into something that made sense. But it didn't. It was real. And I wasn't being invited. I was being drafted. That's what it felt like. Like someone had written me into their plans without permission, without consent, without decency. Not as a mother, not as a sister, not as a person, just as a source. I closed the laptop gently, not slammed, not tossed, gently, because anger is loud, but betrayal sits real quiet. My mind drifted to those empty chairs from last week. The Costco cake still wrapped in foil, the juice boxes stacked back in the fridge. I could see Imri's little smile as I sang alone, pretending we were surrounded by people who cared. And now they wanted 20 grand. Not an apology, not a moment of regret. Money. I thought about all the times I'd said yes, quiet yeses, hidden ones, covering the initial marketing bill for Verlaine's company when her business partner bailed, paying Pace's tow fees because he was between checks again, filling Clovis's prescription when she said her insurance lapsed, and God doesn't make accidents, baby. He makes tests. But no one had remembered any of it. Until they needed something. Until it made their spreadsheet easier. I poured a glass of water, and before I sat down again, my phone lit up with a notification. Verlaine was live on Instagram. I don't usually watch those. I didn't want to now. But something made me click. Curiosity? Maybe. Stupidity. She was holding a little black box with a white ribbon. Smiling. The Sweet 16 starts with the sweetest details, she said. And this necklace, our signature freshwater pearls, is a gift from Verlaine Events to our beautiful birthday girl, because real love is thoughtful. I froze. I had ordered that necklace a month ago. Paid extra for rush delivery. Personalized the clasp with her niece's initials. There was no Verlaine Events gift tag when I sent it. There was just me. Watching her repurpose my kindness as marketing felt like swallowing broken glass. It wasn't about the money. It was about being erased again. Publicly. Gracefully. With applause. I closed the live stream and sat still for a moment, holding my phone like it might burn through my palm. Then I opened the email again. Read it, top to bottom. Then I opened Venmo. Searched Verlaine's name. I didn't send $20,000. I sent one. Just one. And in the memo field, I typed, "Congratulations." That's it. No period. No sarcasm. No explanation. I wasn't trying to fight. I was holding up a mirror. After I hit send, I flipped my phone into airplane mode. Not because I was scared of the replies, but because I didn't want to be pulled back in. Not yet. I sat down at the table, the one still stained with frosting from Imri's birthday. Reached into the drawer, pulled out a legal pad, the kind I used when I was pregnant, trying to budget maternity leave down to the week. And I began to write, rent I covered, groceries I bought, medications, loans, bailouts, not out of bitterness, out of clarity. Because people forget facts when the narrative is cleaner without them. And I wasn't going to forget again. I was folding laundry when it came in. Just another email, or so I thought. Subject line: Strategy for Sweet 16 sponsors. Sent by Verlaine's assistant. I wasn't supposed to be on it. I knew that immediately. I wasn't part of the planning, hadn't been in the loop, hadn't even been acknowledged at Imri's party. But there it was, CC'd by accident. I clicked. The first line stopped me cold. Delaney's overreaction is a branding risk. Keep her quiet, but on the sponsor tier. She's an ATM, not a voice. I stared at the screen, reread it. My jaw didn't drop. My hands didn't shake. I just felt smaller. The thread kept going. Plans for a family dinner downtown to gently pressure her into recommitting. The tone was surgical, calculated. Verlaine suggesting I'd fold when it's public enough. Like I was a deal to close, not a person, not a sister. I hit forward and sent the email to myself. Then I printed it. Truth has weight, and this one needed to be on paper. The dinner invite came 2 hours later. Looking forward to seeing everyone and celebrating family, it said. Savannah, downtown, Friday at 7. I agreed to come, but not to be cornered. Verlaine didn't know I'd already seen the script. Later that night, I opened my banking app to check if my last invoice had cleared. There it was. Another charge under my name. A reservation deposit for a Sweet 16 venue. In Verlaine's business name. On my account. My fingers moved automatically. Screenshots, account number, call logs. I printed everything. Then I started a new file folder. Unauthorized charges. I didn't call her. Didn't warn her. Let her keep digging. I stopped being hurt. I started planning. The next morning, I drove across town to a small cafe. Quiet, tucked in the corner of a plaza. One of the venue managers from the event sometimes worked there part-time. I had helped her with taxes the year before. I waited until she brought out my coffee before I leaned forward. Did Verlaine use my name to secure anything for this party? I asked. Her face shifted. Hesitation, then something like guilt. She said you were a financial backer? She admitted. Said you wouldn't mind. That she had it handled. I nodded. That was enough. I didn't need more. I just needed confirmation. That night, I went through every financial line item from the last 6 months. Highlighted anything tied to Verlaine, Clovis, or the event. I wasn't trying to win anymore. I was trying to stop playing. Pace's girlfriend messaged me 2 days later. We weren't close. She rarely spoke to me at family functions, kept to herself. But she wrote, I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that email, or any of this. She attached a voice memo. I listened. Verlaine's voice, sharp, confident, coaching. Guilt her. Say something like, you're the only one who can help right now. She'll cave. She always does. I sat in the dark, phone in my lap. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I just whispered, not this time. Then she sent another file, a scanned document. The event contract. At the bottom, under Special Donor Tier, it read, Silent Sponsor, D. Rhodes. Silent. They wanted my money, not my presence, not my voice. They wanted to erase me but keep the checks coming. And now I had it. Proof. I didn't need to argue anymore. I needed to wait for the right moment. Friday came fast. I parked across the street from the restaurant. The file folder sat on the passenger seat. Labeled. Tabbed. Quiet. I scrolled through the email screenshots one more time, not for doubt, but for direction. Maya Angelou's words echoed back. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. I believe them now. I stepped out of the car. Not to beg. Not to ask for inclusion, but to watch. To see clearly. And maybe, finally, to choose something different. The envelope came on a Tuesday morning, buried under bills and grocery flyers. Thick cardstock, gold-edged, with a floral crest at the top. It felt like an announcement more than an invitation. When I opened it, the words, Sweet 16 Prep Brunch, stood out in looping script. But it was the line at the bottom that cut me. Only family who truly cares will be there. I held it a long time, my fingers smudging the ink. There was no warmth, no inside joke, just a performance dressed up as family. The card wasn't just an invite. It was a notice of rank. I set it down on the counter, careful, like it might explode. My breath caught as I stared at it. For the first time, it hit me that this wasn't simply exclusion. It was erasure. Printed, mailed, deliberate. By afternoon, my phone lit up with a relative's post. A slick collage of pre-party photos. Girls in pastel dresses, centerpieces lined up like soldiers. A family tree graphic from the event program tucked in one corner. My eyes darted to the section where my name should have been under Clovis's youngest. In its place, a small gray unlisted. The comments below gushed about honoring the legacy, little heart emojis punctuating every sentence. Verlaine and Pace had liked it too. My thumb hovered over the comment box, then stopped. No tears, no questions, just screenshots. I saved each one into a new folder on my laptop labeled Truth. This wasn't grief anymore. This was record keeping. That evening, after Imri went down for her nap, I walked the living room in slow circles. I'm not even angry, I said to no one. I'm exhausted. The words hung in the air like smoke. My eyes drifted to the owl sticker still on the fridge from her birthday. That sticker had outlasted every promise they'd made. My mind jumped ahead to Imri in a classroom, learning the same lessons I had. Don't speak unless spoken to. Be easy. Will she grow up thinking this silence is normal? I wondered. My own childhood flickered through me, praised for keeping quiet, rewarded for disappearing. I grabbed a scrap of paper and started writing names. My own family tree. Only the ones who had shown up got a branch. 2 days later at the grocery store, I ran into one of the neighbors who'd been at the birthday. She picked up a bag of apples, then glanced at me. I saw that brunch invite on Instagram. Why wasn't your name on the list? She asked softly. I forced a small smile. Guess I didn't qualify this time, I said. She nodded but didn't look away. Her silence on the walk to the parking lot felt heavier than the question itself. Loading my bags into the car, I realized something that made my stomach clench. My quiet wasn't just shielding me, it was giving them permission. Back at home, I opened the fridge for milk. The owl sticker stared back at me, crooked but holding on. My reflection ghosted in the metal door. This time, the word came out of my mouth without a tremor. Enough. It wasn't rage. It was a line being drawn in the sand. That night, after tucking Imri in, I took out the same pen I'd used for her birthday invitations. On a sticky note, I wrote, I will not explain absence to people who chose it. I pressed it to the back of the Sweet 16 invitation and slid it into the Truth folder with the screenshots. My voice in my head was steady now. Not pleading, not bitter. Just finished. Even as I closed the folder, a thought flickered like a warning. They weren't finished. Not even close. Clovis's call came at dusk on a Thursday. She didn't say, I'm sorry. Instead, she said, we need to show unity for the community, Delaney. People are starting to talk. Her voice was smooth, practiced, like she'd rehearsed every syllable. It wasn't an invitation to brunch. It was an instruction. I listened without agreeing, my thumb pressed into the table edge until it hurt. Out of curiosity more than compliance, I said yes. That Sunday, I parked a block away from the restaurant and sat still, watching families file in through the glass doors. When I finally entered, the air smelled of syrup and perfume. Verlaine stood at the center, hair perfect, hands raised as if at a podium. Some people think giving birth equals legacy, she said. Her eyes found mine. Being a womb doesn't make you a pillar. Nobody laughed, nobody defended me. The silence was applause. I felt my breath stall, but my face stayed neutral. I drove home slower than usual. Every traffic light gave me an extra second to steady my hands on the wheel. The mailbox was stuffed with circulars and one padded envelope. My handwriting stared back at me on the return label. Inside was the birthday gift I'd sent, still wrapped, owl sticker bent but hanging on. Across the front, in thick red marker, return to sender. No explanation, no note, just sealed rejection sent back to me like evidence. I sat on the porch steps holding it, the chill of the package creeping up my arms. This wasn't miscommunication anymore. This was a message. They weren't just indifferent. They were willing to erase even kindness. My jaw clenched, but no tears came. Only confirmation. That night, after Imri drifted off, I sat at the kitchen table under a weak bulb, the unopened package in front of me. My mind spiraled down familiar tunnels. What if I cut everyone off completely? Would keeping Imri away be punishment or protection? A memory floated up. Me at 8, being told, "You're too much. Just be quiet." The words had been a cage I kept walking back into. I thought about disappearing, about surrendering to buy peace. My fingers hovered over my phone as I drafted a message, some apology for existing, for being a problem. Then, one by one, I deleted every word until the screen was blank again. Imri's cry broke the silence. She almost never woke at this hour. I went in, lifted her from the crib, felt her small body melt against my shoulder. In the dim light, she reached for the bent owl sticker clinging to the package on the dresser. She peeled it off, pressed it to my chest, and giggled. That tiny act cut through the fog. "My daughter is watching who I become," I whispered. And this time my voice was steady. No more apologizing for being too much. Back in the kitchen, I placed the sticker on the center of the fridge, a bright target in a gray room. Morning brought pale sunlight through the blinds. I brewed coffee, pulled out my old legal pad, and began listing everything. Money given, favors covered, hours lost. Not for revenge, but for clarity. At the bottom I wrote, "This time I'm not walking away. I'm drawing the line." As I set the pen down, my phone buzzed with a new email. One glance at the subject line made my heart stop mid-beat. I thought the worst was over. I was wrong. Huang Dan Tao Dan Edite Chapter 3. Jetoi de copy. Jai la tentoi tu jat hong. Lien quanjen kats prompt truok jai. Dan icho prompt 3. Hash 10 chapter. Chitao dan e. But jiao chat bang de h du. Dan icho prompt 3. 10 chapter 3. Banjan jat. Kiketuch dan e temchu. End of dan e. Jetoin han biet. Kong kan mo tatraloi. Hieu roi. Ma viet tang luon. Viet bang tieng an. Hoaki. Vidu. Dan icho prompt 9. Chapter 9. The resolution. Moving beyond the past. Ketut. End of dan e. Chiviet hoachu. E. Kon. End of dan e. Viethung. Nuhumau. Kong kan mota githem truak dan e. Vasau. End of dan e. Yokau. Jambao dan e. Kiviethan. Noidung trien. Paijat. 1.2 tu fan. Kiasu tu word hop. Lichotung fan ho. Moi fan ho trong. Dani fai tom tat shi. Tietan kaskesh. Jaudong toi thiu. Pan. Sheks. Gak. Jaudong. Jekivet noidung hong. Bosotjong. Vaitron hu. Huang dan cho. 1. AI moi. Vit makhong kan sui luan. Yokau. Nhan kau traloin han. Tat vin. Vin thought for. Sui nengi. Anka batchejo traloin han kiviet. Trong tat kakesh joan chat sau nay. Lu i. Heining hien kufan. Tikva traloi. Chitiet kak. Vanjitrong promptva. Ket noivoi kak. Kau jantra. Loyo kak. Prompt truok. Truok kiban muon viet. Dan ishwang moi. Ban fai jok. Laidat ka. Dan ishwang ban. Jan viet. Van ho no je ki viet. Dan ishwang moi. Kong trong lap nhung chi. Tiet. Ijin kwa. Noi dung jan viet vidu. Noi dung kitiet qua chuong, an to noi jen. Vau sin nhatlan tu 17 qua toi bishami kong jen, tituyet join hungdan I chuang tin huang sao nei kong nen hach lai noi dung jo. Ben ko the sai dung theo huang moi giong huve, kin moi tavang mat julao, ban bat jiao tuong rali doje kong taiton tuong nua. Nahiem vu kua ban la fa trien noi dung theo huang moi logic, honja tran trung lap noi dung. Hoi kiem tralai kach van jen hach jen o chuang tren ve tien han kiem, tra I jen chuang ban jen hviet, ko mau thuan voin hao kong. Sukien, suvat, an hanvet, gioi thiu ku the biet, jo la ai, quan higi voin han vat chin. Tin huang, ksuat hien. Ku the ro rangje, ngoi dung hiu hung tin huang quan trong, jung tap trang hiu qua chitiet tam trang. Hai ro rang boi can. Toi gian. Tuan tu kau truk twist, P.H. Louis chun hanvat, jagioi thiu roe, trangioi thiu la nua. Tran la plai noi dung. Jok qua kong ka neura, neu ko loi thi moi bao kau kude. Neu jano keben hai, viet dan I kung suang chuang tiep theo kong kan hoi, lai mang ing hi kua toan kau chuyen hoi thoi hon ban vao jo. Noi dung kua ban truyen tai jen kan, gia 60 plus, xem YouTube o hoaki. Hey jem jen hong kien, thuk nangwai joy thuk na hong kau noi hai, ko den hong kau kwan guai noi. Hung loi, le thuang dung kwan guai mai lam, nen tang cho kau truyen. Gok nin kan, giatein han, bat chinich de hien su tong min. Man hmi, tranich tin huang, yude. Kam chiu. Sudong an goi thun hat, first person POV, tuan bosukien. Suyin hi, kam suk juok miu takwa gok nin kan han, nhan bat chin. Cliffhanger jat, guai chuang, giro rang hip jo, tsam, vakam suk. EM. Chotung chapter va sokitu. Characters. Dukientung chapter. Giro rang twist. 6 suatien. O chapters giro boy. Kanhajia. Li. Antoi gientong. Din han vat long. Get hopli. Neo jang gyoithu. Roi kong gyoithu. Nua. Ki viet ksong. Mut chapter bantong. Bao ja. Hedva dung. Lai kim trachung. No. Okay. Moi viet. Tiep. Vi du. Jen chapter x va dung. Lai toi kim ter chapter x va. Nhan jua klen okay. Kitoi ksak nhan ban moi. Tiep tuk chapter x tiep theo. Kong juk viet dang kung tai liu. Viet ro rang ran. Mak logik van juk nhat jen. Ko ro rang hip jo. CM. Vakam. XUCEM. Chotung chapter. Tung Muk Kon Trong chapter. Soki 2. Characters. Du Kien Chotung chapter. Tung Muk Kon Trong chapter. I woke up to my phone vibrating itself nearly off the nightstand. Missed calls stacked like dominoes. Text messages rolled over each other. At first, I thought something had happened to Imri's daycare, but then I saw my name tagged in a comment on Instagram. A stranger under the Sweet 16 post had written, "Why isn't Delaney listed? Isn't she the baby's aunt?" The video was a glossy highlight reel of family unity, the dresses, the banners, the cousins, but not one frame of me or my daughter. Not even a token mention. Comments were piling up now, some supportive, some sneering, others just curious. My family stayed silent, and the silence worked like fuel. A cousin sent me a private message. "You're trending in the wrong room, Dee." I stared at the screen, thumb hovering. I didn't type anything. Watching in silence became my first act of defiance. By noon, Verlaine had posted a vague statement on her business page. "Don't believe everything you read. Family is complicated." It read like perfume over smoke. Then my phone buzzed with a bank alert, almost $20,000 pending from a Sweet 16 vendor. I called immediately. The vendor confirmed my name had been used as co-payer again. "She implied you'd handle it," the woman said carefully. This time, I didn't just reverse the charge. I wrote a certified email to my lawyer and CC'd the vendor. "Any further financial use of my name will result in legal action," I typed. My hands didn't shake. It was strange, realizing I'd stopped trying to win them back. I was just documenting the truth now, line by line. By evening, my inbox turned into a confessional. An old teacher from high school posted on Facebook. Used to be proud of this family. What changed? Coworkers, neighbors, even a client wrote quiet messages of support. We had no idea. It wasn't relief I felt. It was a sobering kind of exposure. Strangers were piecing together the story I'd been living in silence. A local parenting blog reposted the original comment thread, drawing more public sympathy. I hadn't raised my voice. The truth had started rising on its own. I watched it happen, a tide moving without my hand. Late at night, the cost of that tide came knocking, not on my door, but on my voicemail. Clovis, you're embarrassing us. Your father would be ashamed. Then Pace. Just stop, Dell. It's getting out of control. I deleted both messages without listening to the ends, but the sting settled anyway. I wondered, for the first time, if public exposure might hurt Imri someday. Then I remembered. The silence already had. In my journal, I wrote one sentence. If the truth embarrasses them, they shouldn't have buried it. I opened my laptop to add another screenshot to the folder. A new email blinked at the top of the screen. Subject line, urgent request from Verlaine Stokes. My stomach flipped as I clicked. Damage control, I assumed. But what I read made the room tilt. The flyer arrived first. It slid into my inbox before sunrise, bright and polished. A full-color ad for a party I was never meant to attend. The updated guest list read like a roll call of loyalty. Every cousin, every uncle, every pillar of family tagged and thanked. My name missing. Again. Then the public post went up. Verlaine's gratitude spelled out for the world to see. Everyone tagged but me. It wasn't sloppy. It was surgical. She'd cut me out on purpose and smiled as she did it. I showed the screenshot to my lawyer over coffee. This is reputational exclusion layered on financial abuse, he said flatly. I printed the post without trembling, slid it into the growing file on my kitchen table. That night, with the house quiet, I scrawled one sentence on a sticky note and pressed it to the folder. Let the record show. Silence wasn't consent. Morning brought a softer knock. I opened the door to find a little girl from down the street, hair in 2 braids, holding a small gift bag like it was a treasure. I wanted to come to Imri's party, she said shyly. But my mom said we couldn't. Here's my own gift. Inside the bag was a cupcake, slightly tilted, and a folded note decorated with hand-drawn stars. On the front, an owl sticker, the same kind I'd used on Imri's invites months ago. My throat caught. A child had noticed what the adults refused to. Showing up matters. I crouched to thank her, promised Imri would see her gift. After she skipped away, I placed the card in Imri's memory box and whispered to no one. This is what showing up looks like. By midday, the legal strike was set in motion. My attorney mailed a cease and desist letter to Verlaine and the venue. Screenshots, contracts, a full timeline of every misuse of my name. They had 48 hours to remove me from all event materials and stop representing me financially. He called me later to describe the reaction on the other end of the line. She didn't even argue, he said. Just silence. I didn't follow up. I let the letter speak. As I packed Imri's lunch, my mind turned over the same thought. This isn't revenge. This is recovery. That evening, scrolling through Instagram, I saw the gala unfolding in real time. The stories were slick reels of centerpieces and dance floors. One clip lingered on the dessert table, napkins printed with owl designs, a guest's voice off camera. Verlaine said the owl theme was her tribute to her sister's grace. The stolen symbol hit like a slap. Even my silence had been repackaged for their image. But this time, I didn't choke up. I smiled, a thin, steady smile, and pressed record screen. Not to post. just to remember the cost of quiet dignity. Later that night, with the window cracked, I rocked Imri to sleep. A breeze lifted the owl sticker still clinging to the fridge door. I looked at it, then closed the door softly. Walking into my room, I opened my phone, found the unsent draft apology to Clovis, and deleted it permanently. The cursor blinked once and vanished. I turned off the lights, whispering, "That chapter's closed. Let them read their own ending." The email from the Sweet 16 event team landed in my inbox late in the afternoon. Subject: Updated sponsor confirmation. Inside was a message claiming I had reapproved the sponsorship and asked them to re-add my name to the materials. My pulse didn't spike. I forwarded the email, appended a clean packet of legal proof, screenshots, my cease and desist, contract withdrawals, and hit send. Later that night, my phone lit up with a short message from my ex, someone my family had exiled long ago. He wrote, "They've always rewritten the script, but you never needed their version to matter." I stared at it. For years, I'd believed I needed their validation to exist. Now I realized I only needed to release their version from defining me. The Sweet 16 passed the next evening without me. I didn't attend. Neighbors told me how elaborate it looked, but that something felt hollow. A cousin slipped me a video of Clovis sitting near the fountain, alone, ignored. Verlaine's face was sharp, yelling at the florist over petals. It was beautiful on camera, but brittle in real life. I shut the video before it finished. I felt no urge to say, "I told you so." Just peace. The next afternoon, I took Imri to a small park. I packed cupcakes at home, simple, familiar. A few neighbors came with their children. No banners, no grand stage, just laughter, crumbs, folding chairs placed where they belonged. Her smile was brighter than any spotlight. I thought, I wanted the noise. But this quiet is louder in all the right ways. I pulled a sheet of stationery from my bag. I wrote Imri a letter. "You will know who showed up, and that will be enough." I sealed it with an owl sticker. Later, I walked into the kitchen and saw the owl sticker on the fridge. It was fading, curling at the edges. Instead of peeling it off or replacing it, I let it stay, an echo of what was, not what must be fixed. The message from my ex replayed in my head. You never needed their version. I opened my journal and wrote one final thought. I didn't burn the bridge. I just stopped painting it gold. Clovis's number flashed across the screen. I let it go to voicemail. My peace wasn't loud. It was real. That night, as Imri drifted to sleep, I whispered in the dark, "We're not broken. We're building." I turned off the phone, turned on the white noise machine, and laid down with a steady breath. A notification pinged. I ignored it. Final words in my mind. This isn't a new beginning. It's a continuation on my own terms. In that silence, deep, full, mine, I finally heard myself.